I didn't want to draw attention to us because I knew what we were doing, although to the letter of the law was fine. The state came for us. People were calling and being like, I want the liquor license the Red Door has. And the state was like, who's the Red Door? When you got your receipt, it said Dos Amigos. Like, that's, people are like, who's Dos Amigos?
Yeah.
Like, I get phone calls and be like, you charge me for burritos? And I'd be like, no. Like, and then there came a time before we opened where Jay said, all right, you got to tell me we need the name so we have a sign. And I was like, we're not having a sign. It's a small town. People will find us. We opened and we did $2,300 first night. Mike and Ruthie from the Mammals, which is this incredible bluegrass band, they played at the Red Door. Mike and Ruthie were here on a Monday. That Sunday, the Mammals were the cover of the New York Times art section. I mean, it was a fucking blast. What are you kidding me? Like, I got to do whatever I wanted. I was on top of the world. But you could see the wheels coming off here and there for me. I don't know, a lot of extracurricular activities. I could stay out until 10 a.m. and not even think about it. And now I'm going home. It's really bright out. I got to go get a nap. I got to be back at the bar, opening up for a private event.
Why do you think people remember the Red Door so fondly?
I think you're talking to a lot of people who were going through some of the best times of their life at that point.
Hey everyone, a quick 30 seconds before we begin. Last week, we quietly released our brand new Seacoast Stories merchandise, a collection which features beach towels, campfire mugs, hats, and these ones are my favorites, a branded t-shirt and also a crew neck that says on the back, quote, to the person behind me, your story matters, end quote, which is very true to the core message of this show, that no matter who you are, we all have a story to share and that it is worth telling. If you would like to join me in repping the Seacoast, then please visit the merch store link in the show notes. Now on to today's episode. Welcome to Seacoast Stories, a podcast about the people and businesses of New Hampshire and Maine. I'm Troy Farkas. So, this brand has grown a lot in the last year, from the weekly podcast to our social media audience and to our in-person gatherings. The Seacoast Stories universe is thankfully gaining traction by the day, and we truly believe that we are only just getting started. But with that progress has come quite the increase in the number of haters, mostly on Facebook. And a constant theme that I am so sick of hearing from people in the comments and in my DMs is that Portsmouth used to be so much better than it is today, so much livelier, so much more cultured, that newcomers like me have killed the once great vibe of this town, and that Portsmouth was cooler when establishments like the Elvis Room, breaking new grounds, the Page, and the Red Door were doing their thing. Listen, I love this town, I love its people, and I will continue to defend Portsmouth despite the issues that it undoubtedly has. But for today's purposes, a hit of nostalgia. We travel back to yesteryear, to a time when Portsmouth was supposedly better, and we're doing so with the former owner of the Red Door, Cresta Smith. Cresta lives in New York City now, but I tracked her down and I caught up with her when she was back in town last month. And we sat down in Portsmouth over some espresso martinis prepared by my dear friend Jessica. Now, for as popular as the espresso martini is in Portsmouth these days, current beloved espresso martini makers like Cup of Joe and The Wilder owe perhaps a debt of gratitude to the Red Door, which put the espresso martini on the map in this town. As past podcast guest Dana Brearley told me on the show, it's the espresso martini at the Red Door that was practically everyone's introduction to the beverage, at least here on the Seacoast. It was the signature beverage at a bar that did things, well, not the way they were technically supposed to be done. And despite the Red Door's, let's say, skirting of the law from time to time, the Red Door lovingly served up live music, martinis, and a whole bunch of memories from 2003 to 2017. Cresta, who opened the bar alongside Jay McSharry and Robert LaPlante, left the Red Door in 2014, moving to the Big Apple after 2 decades in the Portsmouth bar scene, where the UNH grad had also tended bar at Stockpot. Special thanks to the Corner Door in Portsmouth for lending us their space for this podcast. Now, without further ado, here is the Portsmouth Espresso Martini Queen herself, Cresta Smith. I just spoke to Julie Cutting, whom I don't know if you know her. She owns Cure Restaurants, which is one of the most beloved spots in town. And she, born and raised here, and has been working in this scene for a while as well. And I asked her, when did it start to turn? When did Portsmouth start to become an actual foodie destination with, award-winning restaurants and award-winning chefs? And she told me it was about the early to mid 2000s. What is your thoughts on that? Do you think it was prior to that?
I would say that Portsmouth was the destination for Dover, Rochester, Somersworth, anybody staying on the beach. You would all come to Portsmouth to eat dinner long before that, just because there was more going on. I mean, no disrespect to the Carriage House. That's an institution. People in Rye would go there. But like in Dover, I just feel like we were all coming to Portsmouth no matter what, all the time.
If you live on the seacoast and you want a night out, good food, you're coming to Portsmouth.
And then she's not wrong. That things got more expensive then. More locations came up. I remember when McSherry did his spot here at Jumpin' Jay's, and I was like, what are you doing? You're nowhere near the water. Nothing's fried on this menu. Like it blew my mind. Like, how are you going to make this work? And like, he's so smart. He's like, there's a parking lot right here. I'm creating something different. Peche Blue. I don't know if you ever had that's ever come up. That was across the street. It was another fish restaurant across the street.
Interesting.
And so, or maybe they opened just after Jay's did, but like it was the beginning of the expansion of what we all considered the center of the universe, which was the water.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden there's restaurants coming out. I mean, this seemed like a far off place. Right. And now, the West End is a whole nother thing. And that happened, I would argue, that's a whole nother chapter of
It's like a
Portsmouth
decade later,
blowing up. Yeah, but that was
Jumpin' Jay's, Jay McSharry's first restaurant in his
flagship.
now empire?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And he knew, I spoke to him about it because how'd you do it? I want to open a bar. What did you do? And anyhow, he knew it. He had a business plan. He started with the brass tacks, like what are the numbers? He's always a numbers guy. Brilliant. He got an investor, borrowed some money from the bank, put up some money he had. He'd been working in the industry in Cape Cod, I think, in Nantucket, I believe, and then just took it. And when he started, it wasn't the size of what it is now. His original spot was on the Middle Street side of that corner. And there was a bookstore next door. And it was really just a counter and maybe 7 tables. I'd have to ask him, but it wasn't a big space. And as soon as he knew when to expand and how to do it. And just watching that happen was like a lesson, when to make the right moves.
Right.
And watching him throughout, I don't know, I don't want to speak out of school, but watching him with his businesses over the last now 25 years or whatever it's been, he knows when to cut bait. He'll invest in something. And when it's not making money or however the numbers aren't working, okay, I'm all set with that.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with the Red Door. No matter what happened to that, I was like, this is my baby. I was very emotionally involved. And thank God Jay was not.
Right.
And that was a good partner to have.
Back then when he told you he was going to open Jumpin' Jay's, if someone from the future had come and been able to tell you that, oh yeah, Jay McSharry, that man who just opened Jumpin' Jay's, he's going to have 15 more restaurants in the Seacoast area that are all crushing it. Would you have believed me if I told you that?
Yes. Not right away, but maybe it wasn't long after he had Jay's. He opened Radici. They opened Dos
Amigos was his place too.
Dos Amigos was his, yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like that was a little ways in, maybe 4 or 5 years in at least. Yes, anyone would have invested money with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they did, I guess.
Yeah, and he's now behind a bunch of places. Vita Cantina, Liar's Bench.
Oh, yeah, Vita's fantastic. Liar's Bench.
Ornell's Barbecue, the list goes on. So let's talk about the Red Door. I'm dying to learn more about the Red Door. So take me into the earliest conversations that led to the founding of the Red Door.
So this was what I brought to the table. I had approached Jay McSharry before this and said, I wanted to piggyback a food licensed place. So I think Dos Amigos must have served beer, maybe. I don't know. But I knew
Dos Amigos, Mexican place, yes. Mexican restaurant.
So 80s Smokehouse was in this space. It's embarrassing. I don't even know the address anymore. On State Street. Thank you. And it's a 2-story spot. It's actually a 3-story building. Upstairs was an apartment. It was all apartments at one point. I learned that later. People would walk in and be like, my bedroom was over there. Like crazy. We had a shower that we had to pull out of one of the bathrooms when we took over the space. So it was AD's. Jay took over the space. He had the burrito spot. I had approached him before and pointed out a different location in town. I'm not sure what's there now. It was called Bella Luna then. It was on Market Street on the right-hand side, right before you get to the square. And it was an incredible restaurant, but they didn't have a bar. And I was like, it would be so great to have the bar upstairs. It was a video, like a VHS rental. It's just a really cool spot up there. But I was like, that guy's going to go out of business. There's no way no one's renting videos anymore. But I was like, I want to go upstairs, not deal with food, and have a space available for cocktails and just hanging out, lounging, music. That's it. And they would deal with the food sales. And my existence would just be the bar upstairs at quietly, speakeasy style, sort of. I wasn't trying to break a law, but I felt like I found a loophole. We had the conversation. Jay's like, I don't own that space. What do you want me to do about it? And I was like, you know what? Nothing. We've had a good laugh, good talk. And then when he acquired the AD's location, put the burrito place in, he's like, I've got it all set up. Do you want the upstairs?
He acquired it based on this conversation?
Not at all. No, who knows why Jay does things. I mean, I'm pretty sure he got it for a song. I'm sure he got to go in, for less than it was worth. Again, there was the Rosa on State Street, but it really was on the outskirts. We're not on the water. Right. And it was like things in town were expanding, but in his mind, I think he was like, people will grab a burrito and go to the park or, I'm not sure. Yeah. But what was cool was maybe he just got in touch with me because at that point, he and I would see each other quite a bit. I'd go to Jay's a lot. He would come into the stock pot. He would come into the tiki bar. He had confidence enough in me as a bartender. He saw what I could do. So maybe he forgot what we'd talked about. I don't know. But he came back to me. And at the time, I was very comfortable at the stock pot. And a friend of mine, Michael Winters, was like, are you going to retire from the stock pot? Like, what are you going to do, Cresto? Don't be crazy. Like, this is your shot. And so because I almost passed. And then I was like, you know what? He's right. So I did. So we went for it.
Okay.
When I bought the first liquor for the Red Door, the first liquor order had, I think my most expensive vodka might have been Belvedere, and I bought one bottle and it was a $7.50, which means 10 drinks. Yeah. Like we sold out of that the first night. Like I had no idea that because my clientele at the stock pot was lunch Monday through Friday. So these guys drank 100%, but they weren't boozy, like it wasn't the atmosphere. Like the tiki bar gave me an idea of what was the potential was, but I honestly was, when I came up with my first price list, I mean, I undershot myself. I think our first martinis were $8. I mean, at the time, it's 2003,
amazing.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
It's also 2003. But ultimately, when I left, the espresso martinis were $10 each.
Yeah.
And that was I was like, I never wanted to be the person in town taking advantage of people. I just wanted you to come in and have a good time. And we were already considered very expensive. And sometimes, like people would come up and they'd be in a t-shirt and they'd be like, oh shoot, like was I supposed to wear? I was like, whatever you're comfortable in, I don't care. Like I want it to look like this in here. Like as soon as they showed me what I had, then okay, now I get it. Candlelight. Okay. I want shelves for candles over here. I want this, like, I knew I had to just jump on the train. It took me a little while, but as Robert was changing the color of the walls and doing XYZ, like we removed there was a space in the Red Door. Imagine it was kind of like 3 parts. And one part was the DJ booth, there was a little step and you had a little space to be in front of the booth and then the booth. And then the middle spot was low. And then where you walked in was up 2 small steps and it was a higher platform. And all of this is happening with a very low ceiling. And what divided initially when it was AD's was, I don't even know what you'd call it, but like kind of a low bar where you could sit in a table, like a normal chair, and the counter was there. And then on the other side, no, wait, it was a high bar, whatever. Jesus, I'm not doing this very well. But it was a big cabinet. It was ugly. But I was like, fuck it, paint it. Who cares? It looks useful. Robert's like, no way. We're ripping that right out. We're going to and we had a really sexy, like metal, like local woman, Jeannie Givens, who now lives in Hawaii, incredible artist. But she did metal work and she did this beautiful long, like railing for us. That was like just the iron, and she also did the handrail down our stairs, which were like the creepiest haunted house stairs you've ever seen. I don't know they're just like really steep and they must have been to code. I don't know how we got away with it, but so we had a nice railing for that.
Yeah.
Hold on your way up and down.
Right. So it was upstairs of the building. I've been told it kind of speakeasy vibes, no sign.
No sign.
Just the literal red door
We
itself.
had to paint the door red.
Okay.
And this was another one of those things.
Wait, did you call it the red door before the door was red?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was one of Robert's, like, we were trying to come up with a name. I was not easy to deal with. I didn't like anybody's idea. I didn't bring any names. Like, I was just like, I'm sorry, guys, but none of this works. And I don't like any of your ideas and I don't have any ideas. Like, I was who knows how to deal with me. That was very kind. They were very patient. And they had some names. And then, to be honest, maybe I came up with a few because Robert was like, I liked your idea, the red door. That's a great idea. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I have enough ego that I was like, oh yeah, thanks, man. You know, but I don't remember having the idea, but I didn't hate it. And we rolled with it. And then there came a time before we opened where Jay said, all right, you got to tell me, we need the name so we have a sign. And I was like, we're not having a sign.
Huh.
I don't want the pressure of a timeline or a deadline. And why do we need a sign? I know half the people in town already from the stock pot. We're hiring all local bartenders that know other people, like, unnecessary. It's a small town. People will find us. And we opened and we did $2,300 first night. And
put that in context. Is that a good night?
That's a great night.
Okay.
That's a great, at the time, I think we opened at 5 or 6. We were busy right out of the gate. It was a nice steady night for the volume that we did initially. It went very smoothly for being our first run.
Wow.
And like, flash forward to some of our best Friday and Saturday nights, we really didn't often break $4,000. We could, but $4,000 was hectic.
Yeah.
And we did things like, not a problem, but we became a spot that people would wait longer and longer to go to. And then they'd show up at the last call.
Right.
So I was doing more and more of my business from 10:30 to 1. And New Hampshire's very strict. They probably still are. 1 o'clock, the last drink is served and it's game over.
Yeah.
1:30, every single thing had to be taken away from you. Glass of water, right out of your hand. Get out of here. 1:30. So like, I said, a lot of places, including when I was working at the Stockpot, 12:30 was their last call. They didn't want to get close to 1. And I was like, I don't mind serving till 1. That's the law. We'll stick to that. But it kind of messed me up because now everybody's showing up at 12:30 at the same time.
Right.
And now I have to make my numbers within half an hour. And there's only so many, you can only move so quick.
Right.
That espresso machine could only make so many shots.
Yeah. I've been told by many people that the red door was the spot after the spot, after the press room show, after what else, if the Thirsty Moose was around, you closed the night at the red door. Ironically, why are you having an espresso martini at 12:30 a.m.? I don't know.
To sober you up.
That seems like a silly idea. Wow. Okay. So your first night, $2,300, no sign.
No sign.
I'm still stuck on this. How did Jay react when you said, no, we're not having a sign?
It wasn't a memorable reaction. I mean, he's great. I don't have to spend money on that. Like, fine.
Because it's just like,
whatever.
This is the pre-social media days. Your marketing levers were not as plentiful as you have today. So you would think, we got to have a sign. You would think that would be a good marketing tactic.
It turns out it fell in with our brand.
Yeah.
I didn't want to draw attention to us because I knew what we were doing, although to the letter of the law, was fine. And the state came for us multiple times,
really?
Which I don't know how much I want to talk about that, but it just was like, people were calling and be like, I want the liquor license the Red Door has. And the state was like, who's the Red Door? They're not registered with us, So it's all of a sudden now their antenna goes up and it's like, oh, the Red Door is serving drinks without serving food. So then it was like a whole thing for a couple of years. And then, to be honest, I think the heat came off because something tragic happened with the liquor commission. And then they just kind of backed off for a bit. Huh. But we had the fire department coming in, counting heads. I mean, we had noise complaint after noise complaint. It was a hectic spot. There's a reason why people remember it.
Right. So you've mentioned that you guys had found loopholes, and one of those loopholes was that Dos Amigos downstairs, the burrito spot, was your food vendor, even though you guys directly were not serving food.
If I remember correctly, you had to either hit a certain number in food sales in order to serve 80 proof. I forget exactly what the proof is, but in order to serve full proof vodka, gin, rum, all of it, you have to serve a hot meal in the state of New Hampshire. That Jay mentioned, maybe it's going to change, but why would it change? Because everybody with a bar and a kitchen are invested in what they have. Now they're going to lose guests to just these bars. But it was a prohibitive cost to open a bar if you have to open a kitchen. Now you got to build whatever, it's $100,000 build out with the hoods and the whatever systems. So for me, I needed this loophole because I didn't have $100,000 to open a bar. So like flash forward, we've got it. We are now Dos Amigos. When you got your receipt, it said Dos Amigos. Like that's people are like, who's Dos Amigos?
Yeah.
Like I get phone calls and be like, you charge me for burritos? And I'd be like, no. Like, that's not like, so we started on the top of our receipts. It would say the red door, but on your credit card, I think it said Dos Amigos.
Wow.
Like I wasn't trying to be that shady. It's just like, we're just upstairs from the burrito spot.
Yeah.
But we had the same address. It's the same lease. It just was really nice because we had our own door, painted it red, and it was word of mouth. And I'll tell you I don't know exactly when, but maybe it was 2010 or something. State Street 100% was ripped up. They had to redo.
Shocker in this town.
But they had to do, it was 200, 100, I'm now blah, 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 and making up numbers. But I think the pipes were 100 years old or something. And it was like, it's time, new sewer line, new water line. And that took forever. And it really ripped the wind out of the sails for the businesses on that street. And they were like, how do you guys do it? And I was like, people will walk over hot coals to drink a cocktail. Like, I'm not having a problem at all. But we'd have State Street meetings where I'd be sitting there with like a hairdresser and Asia, who had a beautiful jewelry store where I think near where the market is there, Richardson's Market. I don't know what it's called now, but she had a store right on the corner there. And it was just hard. You couldn't get people to walk down the street because they didn't know there was something down there.
Right. And does the town compensate those businesses in any way?
I don't think so.
That's crazy.
We didn't get compensation.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Well, you guys weren't even a legitimate business, apparently.
We didn't even exist. Maybe Dos Amigos got that money. I don't know. Which is great. Because good for anybody. If the town's going to hand out money, do it. Yeah. Awesome. But at the time, it was, what I remember about our city council then was things were kind of clunky. They were very into the historic look of Portsmouth, but they really didn't want like an ice skating rink in Strawberry Bank. That sounds like a lot of traffic. Or, we can't build another hotel. The North End looks completely different now. But then there was just like, we couldn't change anything about the front of the building. Like painting the door red. I'm sure Jay had to go kiss someone's ass to get that done. We painted it the day of opening. Yeah.
So once that first night had concluded, $2,300. Meanwhile, you're 29 years old. It's 2003. After that first night had wrapped up, what do you remember feeling?
So I think we opened on a Thursday. Maybe it was a Wednesday, but I was just like, I have to get through this weekend. Like I have to figure out, I have to go back to the liquor store and buy more booze. Like it was like starting a relationship and just not realizing and it was exactly what I was doing, but I was realizing, how am I going to make this work? And I know it's going to be off. Like, it was just like, fuck yeah, let's go. But I woke up every day. Okay, what time is it? What do I need to do now? And it was like, I got to go to the bank and get change for the drawer. The cash situation at this point, there was thousands of dollars. And that's not a big number, by New York City standards or like even now, but we were handling a lot of cash. Like our tips, we could walk home with cash tips every night, right up until the end, actually. A lot of people paid in cash at that time. So I needed change. I needed like $500 in ones and fives just lying around every night. So every day was a trip to the bank. It was a trip to the grocery store to make sure I had pomegranate juice. Because this woman, Jen Sneerson, she said, pomegranate juice is the next thing. And I was like, what the fuck is pomegranate juice, right? And now it's kind of passé. But I don't know if you remember, but those Palm Wonderful, blubbity blah, little, very specific shaped.
Oh, yes.
And there were thimbles. Like you could buy more salt or something. Like they were just like this tiny little, here you go. And it was like $9 for one, but we were charging $9 for the cocktail or something. And it had pomegranate juice in it. We switched vodkas a few times. And then Tim Judge, who was a Martinetti rep, walked into my bar early days, looked at what I had on the shelf, was like, this is all wrong. He's like, you need Van Gogh, you need Hanger One, you need like, all stuff he repped, of course.
Yeah.
And
okay, so because were you literally just going to New Hampshire wine and liquor outlet and buying stuff? Like that's not how it works traditionally,
how
right?
it works.
Like here at the corner door, they work through distributors and
yeah. Eventually, I got distributors, so my liquor orders were dropped off for me. I think that's even how we started, but you do have to go through the liquor store down. I was going to call it the other one. Near the
in the West End.
I'm going to call it the Pick and Pay, but it's not. Yeah, in the West End.
Yeah,
Hannaford.
Yeah.
That liquor store is who services licensees. So I would have to go in with my licensee number and say, this is for the Red Door, blah, 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 or, I'd say Dos Amigos. And then obviously, and I got to know those guys very well. They were wonderful with me because I was just like, I need this. And they would box stuff up for me. Oh my God. It's fucking crazy how much, because you try to anticipate what you need. And again, like that, the relationship got better, and maybe a year or two in, I knew what to order, so I wouldn't have to be making these trips. But at least, you remember now it's Halloween, now it's the holidays, and people are going up New Year's Eve that year. The amount of volume we were doing, and it was unprecedented. The room was smaller. Right? Yeah. And I just didn't know how much people were going to drink. And it was fucking awesome. Right out of the gate. Yeah. And to be honest with you, my Instagram account, social media, Facebook, all that, we messed up when we created the Red Door account, and I had nothing to do with that. Initially, I was like, we need one, Jay, so we can post pictures and stuff. But I didn't know anything about that marketing. I'm still not pretty naive about the best way to do these things. I don't have to do it. But we created the account as a business instead of as a person. And turns out, as a business, we couldn't tag people. Like someone would come, a musician would come or something, and I'd want to post about it and then tag other bars they'd been to, or try to create a bigger community of eyes to see it. And I couldn't do anything I wanted to do with it. So I was like, I don't have time to learn how to do this the best way.
Yeah, but if the word of mouth was there,
the thing is, Jay kept saying, should we advertise? Should we do this? Should we do that? And I was like, no, I don't know how to do it.
And honestly, with the fact that you guys were, kind of playing by your own rules, probably less.
Yeah, 100%.
Getting the word out there is probably not what you want to do. If business is good, word of mouth, let's not draw more attention to ourselves with advertising. We
did. Yeah. And it wasn't even a question until the economy cratered in 2008 or whatever. And then all of a sudden, all these big dogs that would be coming in spending hundreds of dollars, we didn't see many of them, maybe not even again. And then, for example, I was just so lucky because we'd already created relationships with other people that were willing to come back and spend money all the time. But after that, we were open only for maybe 6 months. And then that spot on the water opened up. I don't know, the McNabb under Surf, that ginormous, you could put 300 people there. No, that was years later. It was the upstairs at the Gaslight.
Okay.
And that was a big deal.
Okay.
And they opened up, and they were a martini bar now. And then,
were they?
Oh yeah. Well, it was a one after another after we opened our doors.
Gotcha.
And
you were
so
first. No big deal.
I don't know if no big deal. But it was we'd lose a group for a couple weeks, at least maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
And then they'd slowly start coming back. And I was never look, the more the merrier. Bring the scene. Yeah, that's great. But, Jay would look at the numbers because that's where thank God someone's paying attention.
Right.
And he's we're not making the numbers we were in 06, 07. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I'm making a percentage of that too. I can see it, but I don't now do we advertise? Now, what do we do? How do we get the word out? And how do we get bodies in before 9 o'clock?
Yes.
And then the conversation turned before 10 o'clock. And then, it's because it became that last call spot.
Right.
And I'll take people's money any time of night, but it did put a lot more pressure on us. And that's where the wheels kind of came off here and there. Because it's just now you got to do it all within 6 hours, kept the lights on.
Right.
And then the rest of the stuff that I thought was really special that we brought to the table, we had I was working with Michelle Hand, who was at the bookstore here in town, Tom's bookstore. It's called River Run.
R.I.P.
Oh God, really?
Yeah. Within the last year.
I think he just wanted to retire. I don't think.
Okay. Yeah, no. All right. Good for him.
And it's there's a new bookstore there. It's basically the same thing.
Okay.
So.
Fantastic. Everybody go buy a book.
Yeah.
Swear to God. Like they need to see more books. But Michelle worked there. She had a fantastic network of authors, and we would bring authors in and they'd read whatever they're on their book tour, and it'd be a tiny room with 10 people. And you got to sit there and listen to Arthur Phillips read a book, and who was really fucking cool. And like we did a storytelling series for 3 years,
right?
Winter's Tale, and that was really a lot of fun. 3 months out of the year in the dead of winter, and we had local people who were fantastic, telling very funny, personal, like great stories. Maybe 10 of them a night, and they were picked, they were prepped. It was all on a theme. It was very Moth similar, and plus the Hush Hush Sweet Harlot series was one of my favorite things of all time. And it was quiet. It was just the quietest rock and roll shows you'll ever go to. But I got to see a lot of incredible, like local musicians play, and then a lot of touring groups. I bring my dog on those nights. People would sit on the couch and hold my dog while watching music, and then she'd get up and get on the stage and just sit there.
Yeah.
Pinta was amazing.
So all of these different methods were to try to get people in the door at the Red Door before 12:30 a.m.
Sure. I mean, the Hush Hush Sweet Harlot was more of like a pet project, I'd say, for me, but it was more like I wasn't booking the bands until the tail end of my existence at the bar as managing and running the spot. I mean, the bands we had no business having them play in that tiny little space, but it was fucking awesome. We saw Fantagram twice at the Red Door. I don't know if you know who this band is.
No.
Oh my God. They played their second show with us. It was the night before Eyelid Movies, their first album, dropped nationally. And Jay, I was like, can we ever get them back? Jay's like, you'll never see these guys again. And it's because I can't afford their show. They played Madison Square Garden when I moved to New York City.
Wow.
Like they are huge. And stuff like that kept happening. Mike and Ruthie from the Mammals, which is this incredible bluegrass band. Mike and his brother Chris, both incredible musicians. They're from Durham, New Hampshire. They played at the Red Door. Mike and Ruthie were here on a Monday. That Sunday, the Mammals were the cover of the New York Times art section.
Wow.
And I remember thinking like, oh my God, people are going to come to this show. At least like, no. We were just sitting there by myself watching this music. And it'd be cool because sometimes I'd be like, fuck this. And at the end, if the band wanted to hang out, lock the doors, turn off the lights, still got a couple candles, and we just hang out and jam and sit there and like, I've got someone's banjo. Like it was like, we could I can't play any instruments, by the way. Like they could give me the band. But yeah, the bands were patient with me. But we had a fucking blast. Like it was a really fun time. But yeah, I guess the point of all of that is I don't know anything about social media. we did zero success rate on promoting our shows, which, whatever.
How was your physical and mental health during this time? Owning a business, late nights, like I'm sure you're throwing back some drinks with your patrons in this time.
Oh, not to mention, you're really hitting your stride when you're 29, 30, 31, where it's like, and I'm making real money. And I'm making money on paper, and I got to buy my condo, and I'm meeting new people in town, and my network has expanded into places where now I can get my hands on some things that my mental health probably doesn't need. And I mean, it was a fucking blast. What are you kidding me? Like I got to do whatever I wanted. Like there was a time where I hope I maintained some modesty, but like I was just like, I'm back behind that bar. I'm running this show, and I took it very seriously, and with rules, and like if someone was drunk or cut off, but like I'd make decisions and I'd just stand by it. And like everything felt good, and building that team of people, I had the best people working with me, and everybody we hired was somebody that somebody else knew. And I mean, like they're all superstars. Like my sister Abra worked side by side with me for 5 years, and she helped. And you ask her about my mental health. That woman, she's like, you're bipolar. You got to fucking talk to somebody. I was like, oh God. So I guess, just imagine the momentum going into it and having all of what felt to me, I was on top of the world. And then, but you could see the wheels coming off here and there for me. I don't know, a lot of extracurricular activities, and knowing the right people. I could stay out until 10 a.m. and not even think about it. And now I'm going home. It's really bright out. I got to go get a nap. I got to be back at the bar opening up for a private event, so, someone's wedding or something. And like, it's okay, Cresta. And I think I kept it together pretty well, but the real amazing thing that happened for me right at the right time. I went to Mexico to visit a dear friend and I came back with my dog. And then after that, it was like, yeah, I'll catch up with you guys. I got to go home and walk my dog. And I never went out again. I got home. Pinta and I would walk. We live right behind the middle school ball field. She would run the bases. She knows where the hole in the fence is. I'd be on Richard Street in everybody's backyard all night looking for her. Sorry, everyone who lives on Richards, but like, that was me. I'd have my all black outfit on from work and I'd make sure that my blonde hair was coming out somewhere so they would know like I wasn't trying to break into anybody's like bulkhead or whatever. And I'm looking for my dog, trying to stay quiet because it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And then we get home and I was like, I'm not going to go back out. Why would I leave my house right now? And everything just kind of calmed down after that.
So your dog
saved my life
on the straight.
100%. Wow. Everybody's like, wow, she must be so grateful. You saved her life from Mexico. I was like, I ripped her out of paradise, first of all. But she kept me. It was exactly what is it on a boat? Like a ballast that keeps you.
Sure.
Whatever. Yeah, call it that. Whatever it is. But she just kept me grounded. And I mean, believe me, I did plenty of it still happened.
Yeah.
But having her improved my mental health, that's for sure, and kept me in a much better place for the rest of the stretch. Yeah, well, I 100% recommend getting a dog.
Yeah,
and she was a magic dog, just so good. Got on with everyone, never barked. Was the friendly anyone who would come to the Red Door and met her because one of the Winter's Tales. It was February when I went to Mexico. I came back. I brought her to the Winter's Tale because I wasn't sure how long I could leave her at home. We were figuring each other out. And I brought her and she just sat there quietly and watched me introduce different speakers and people were petting her. I mean, it was like immediately she dropped into my life perfectly. And then you'd see her running on the beach. And I was like, I can't believe this is real. The feeling that I have, the joy that I get just from watching my dog.
Yeah.
What was I doing? And so that was perfect.
Coming up, why the Red Door's Espresso Martini was more than just a beverage, and the real reason why the bar closed up shop in 2017. That's in a moment. But first, if you've lived on the seacoast for any amount of time, you know that we're pretty particular about a couple things around these parts. Perhaps your favorite go-to espresso martini places, or perhaps lobster rolls. But also our privacy. Because as much as we love those big, beautiful windows that flood the house with natural light, the kind that makes your place feel like you're looking out at Prescott Park on a perfect summer evening, we don't necessarily need the entire neighborhood watching us fold laundry in pajama pants or eat oatmeal for dinner. Definitely not referring to myself here, by the way. That's why I'm such a big fan of Budget Blinds of the Seacoast. They're a local company that brings the showroom right to your front door so that you don't have to spend half your weekend aimlessly pacing the window treatment aisle at Lowe's wondering if cellular shades are something that you install or something that you need to charge. Whether you're in a downtown Portsmouth apartment, a family home in Exeter, or a beach house in Hampton where the afternoon sun comes blasting through the windows harder than traffic on Ocean Boulevard in July, they'll help you find the perfect solution. Custom blinds, shades, and shutters, professionally installed, reasonably priced, and done right the first time. Check out Budget Blinds of the Seacoast by clicking the link in the show notes. Living here on the seacoast, it can sometimes feel like everyone else has their career completely dialed in. You're sitting at the bar at Cure or grabbing coffee at Cup of Joe, and the person next to you is talking about their promotion, their investment portfolio, or their dream job, while you're there thinking, wait, shouldn't I have a plan by now? If that sounds familiar, I want to tell you about JOBTALK LLC, a career consulting firm run by podcast alum Crystal Hicks. A good friend of mine had one conversation with Crystal last year. She took one piece of advice from that call, tweaked her job search strategy, and before long, she landed a senior marketing role at a major fashion company, ending a months-long job search and accepting an offer that paid far more than she thought she would get. I wasn't surprised because Crystal has been helping people navigate their careers now for 18 years.
Every year, she works with hundreds of clients on everything from resumes and interview prep to salary negotiations, career changes, and just figuring out what the next step should even be. So whether you're stuck in a job that isn't exciting you anymore, thinking about making a big change, or you just want some expert guidance, you can visit JOBTALKLLC.com to book a free intro call. But if you'd rather learn at your own pace, JobTalk also has online courses covering resume writing, cover letters, LinkedIn optimization, and more. As a Seacoast Stories listener, you can get 50% off any JobTalk Academy course by using the code SeacoastStories50 at checkout. Again, that's Seacoast Stories 50 for 50% off any JobTalk Academy course. Excludes live sessions, offer valid only on JobTalk Academy courses. Let's talk about the martinis. So you guys were billed as a martini bar. You were known for the espresso martini. What was it about the espresso martini? What were you guys doing that was so much better, so different? And also in a time apparently before espresso martinis were even like a big thing. Apparently they're ubiquitous now, but back in the days of the Red Door, the espresso martini was a little more niche.
I guess so. I think we'd see them after a little while. They would pop up in other spots. I'm not saying I was the first one. Clearly I wasn't. We ripped it off of the Radici. It was initially equal part cocktail. We had the espresso machine. We touched a button on the machine for you pick one shot or 2 shots of espresso. It ground the beans, made the shot. That took about 30 seconds. Grab it, hot espresso into the glass. We'd build the cocktail. That was usually the last step because you'd start building it and then your shot would be ready and you'd pour it in. Equal parts, we used vanilla vodka, Kahlua and Bailey's. And it's a spec I will not stand behind right now. It's sweet. And it would get creamy, frothy. The oils were fresh from the espresso. I insisted we weren't pre-making espresso because I was like, I don't want all the oils in my espresso to be on the top. I want everything integrated. But like, when I tell you I'm making this shit up as I go along, like at the time, that's what I said. But I don't know. We didn't even try it with cold espresso. Like, probably should have. Would have saved us some time. But like, I was like, no, it has to be done like this. Okay.
So it was on the creamier side.
It was creamy as fuck. I don't know why anybody drank that. Like, and we had the old school triangles, martini glasses,
yes.
Tall stem,
love those.
So
things.
Easy to smash. They're beautiful now. I love them now. Yeah. At the time I was like, these things, what the fuck?
Of your sales on your average Friday or Saturday night, percentage wise, how many of them were espresso martinis?
Probably a third. Like half of our sales, maybe a little over half, maybe we'll say 60% were our cocktail list. And these are numbers I would look at often enough because I knew the pour cost on each cocktail, meaning how much it costs us to make the cocktail. So then that would determine how much I'm charging for it and the price point. And if anything got skewed, like a drink on the list that the margin wasn't high enough, and I started selling that more, I'd pull it off because I'm like, I need bigger margins to maintain, to showcase. Mm-hmm. So I did pay attention to some of the numbers when I got a top-down call of like, come on, what's happening here? Yeah. But yeah, espressos, martinis were probably a third. About half the drinks came off of that list. And then it was beer. I barely sold wine. Yeah. Wine was a tough sell at the Red Door. I was drinking most of the wine.
Why do you think people remember the Red Door so fondly?
I think you're talking to a lot of people who were going through some of the best times of their life at that point. Like if you think about the demographic who you're talking to, like it's almost like talking to some, to high school football player and being like, what did you think about those days? Like we were all having such a blast then. So I think we got lucky enough to lodge our way into their memories. And so, they're fond memories, I think, of us all spending time together. I think my contribution to that was letting a lot of stuff happen that might not have happened in other places just a little while. I'm not talking about anything completely crazy, but I don't know. We were creative about what we could do there, but I still had to police a couple things, like I chased people outside trying to bring their drinks home. I watched some guy, his last calls, good night, everybody, whatever. And I watched him and he just had his Sierra Nevada and he just like tucked it and he was just following his friends. And I just went in behind him, walking down the stairs. We get outside. He turns around. He's like, look what I just did. And I was looking at me.
Yeah.
And I just grabbed it out of his hand.
That's
I was like,
hilarious.
who the fuck do you think? I just went off. Who do you think you are? We get into a lot of trouble for this. I mean, I just let him have it and I dumped the rest of it on his head. And he was like, I'm going to tell all my friends. I was like, you tell everybody, don't even come in here. Don't come back. I don't want you and your friends coming and stealing, taking beers onto the street and blah, blah, blah. Who knows how I said it, right? And one of my DJs at the bottom of the stairs outside smoking. And the guy, of course, came back after me, verbally. And I was like, fuck off, or whatever. And I'm walking past and my DJ's like, can't believe he called you a bitch. I was like, whatever. So yeah, stuff like that happened. But yeah, there was sometimes it was less easy. And those were times that were funny too, I guess.
The Red Door opened in 2003. You left in 2014. It ultimately closed in 2017. Why did you decide to leave the Red Door?
I'd been in Portsmouth as an adult for almost 20 years. And in that time, bartending. So my network of people, like the world had gotten, it was amazing and filled with love. And it was incredible, but it just seemed it got very small. And I wasn't learning anything. You wouldn't look up on the internet and be like, how does this happen? Or what cocktail specs and techniques and stuff like that all came for me much later. I was making everything up as I went along. And I needed to start learning something. And I stayed at the Red Door and in town a little bit too long because I was coasting and it was fun. But I was like, it's time to go. And I'm a lazy learner. Like, I'm not going to go read a book about it. I need to be in it and surrounded and trial by fire and then do it. So I was like, it's time to go someplace else. And around this time of indecision of what the next step was, a friend of mine, I was at the bar. We were closed. It was during the day. It was Market Square Day, oddly enough. And I'm just in there making sure everything's good because I think it's probably going to be a good big night and I want everything in order and whatever I'm doing. And a friend of mine texts me, his daughter needs to use the bathroom. Yeah, no problem. Bring her up. And then we get chatting. Mutual friend of ours who lives in the city needed a roommate. I was like, I'll talk to him about it. And so all right, New York City. It was a path of least resistance. So it was time to go. Somebody else, the bar was in a good place for the systems were all there. When I handed it over, it was like, this is turnkey. And the guys who took over were great. I think they handled it well, but the area was changing. And I think it ran its course. And then sadly, I don't know where in Portsmouth you can tuck a bar away with that kind of volume being noise, decibel wise. They're kind of fun. Like maybe on top of the garage down by the water. That new, what's the new garage called?
Foundry. Hanover. Foundry is probably newer than Hanover.
Foundry.
Yeah.
Where it's close enough to town, but people can park, but it's far enough from anyone who's going to complain about noise. I don't know. Where do you put something like that? Or you soundproof the shit out of it.
So you think it closed in 2017 just because it didn't work for the newer Portsmouth that was coming in?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to dodge this question.
Yeah.
I do. Yes, that's a pretty good conclusion to come to. But at that point, I'd already left town. I'd been gone for 2 or 3 years.
Right.
But that was the direction. Like that end of State Street, we didn't have noise complaints, at that point in the beginning. And then at the end, I mean, I got very familiar with the police department, the fire department. Like there's only so many times I can kind of be like, oh, I didn't know. And I went out and bought a decibel counter and I'd walk outside and I was like, oh yeah, they're right. I had people who owned the condominium across the street and they were like, on reggae night, we have to go into the backyard and our windows shake. And you can't, there's only so many times you can tell the DJs something. Or we talked to the guy who did our sound system and Ron was awesome. But can you just put a little governor on it? Something to keep it from, we don't want to, I didn't want to break my speakers. And then B, I don't want to break someone's window. I just wanted to be a good neighbor. But like I said, it just, we just kept pushing it a little hard.
Yeah.
And that's
what made it special.
It was really fun. I mean, people, if you were there then, it was a wild ride. Like, and I felt like for the 11 years, it was good. I'd let out on the reins a little bit and let the bar just kind of take off. And then when I had to, I could pull it in. And towards the end, we were getting a lot more negative attention. And you don't want to be that person, but I also couldn't figure out. I guess I was just getting old. I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And
you don't want the burden anymore.
I got to the point also I could always hire my friends. I had said that. I hired my sister, my friends. They hired their friends. Now I'm 40. They're 30. No one has friends in their 20s that wants to work at some bar. Everybody's all, and everybody had their own second jobs that their careers are taken off. Chen now has Burger Bar. Mm-hmm. He was a fucking maniac for us. I loved having him work for us. And he was so talented and so hardworking. Now, good. He's doing his own thing. Dan's doing his. Samit has a beautiful family. Everybody was now, it was time kind of for all of us, I think. Yeah. So it was good. New York City kicked my ass. I had to relearn. I started at the bottom every place I went.
I'm sure it has. And I would love to talk to you about that, perhaps at another time. So you live in the city, you do not live in Portsmouth, and the Portsmouth that you are currently visiting right now for a week is a different Portsmouth than the one that you came of age in. Oh. So I'm just wondering, when in 2026, when you're back visiting, when you walk these streets, what emotions, what thoughts come to mind?
It's funny. It's like a different lifetime ago. I remember that I lived over there, and I know where my condo is. And I know, it's not like I forgot everything, but I walk right past that building now and I don't even think about it. Stockpot was a part of my life so hard. I felt like when I made the decision to leave, I was losing a piece of my body. I was just I've been here for so long. I mean, when you're younger, everything, it's so monumental, but all my friends work there. I think it was 2 weeks in, I walked down Bow Street. I didn't even look up. It was that's now a different part. Okay. And then the Red Door, I'm so grateful for how it went. I'm so grateful that people remember it. And we definitely had a fucking great time, but I don't know. And now Portsmouth, it's growing. Talk about the wheels coming off. You guys are really expanding. Mm-hmm. And I'm invested in this staying a special place, but I won't be that asshole that I'm from New York City trying to dictate what Portsmouth does. You keep this place the way you like it. Be good stewards. So you think it still
is a special place?
It's still, yeah, absolutely. But it's fighting itself, how is it always a positive thing that we have a shiny new building going up? And I think Portsmouth for a long time asked that question a little too often. And now we're kind of letting it go a little bit. I don't know. I trust that you guys I like the direction City Hall had gone. When I was watching things happen from Brooklyn, and I was here during COVID for a couple of years, 2020 to 2022. And I worked at Kava with John Akar, and that team is incredible. And that restaurant is incredible.
Yeah.
And, I worked for a couple of years at the Black Trumpet with Evan Mallett. That place, just that space is like church magic. And Portsmouth, that's not going away. I hope that that's the spirit of that is here forever. We are still a cute historic town, but if we turn into fucking Newburyport, God help us. That's no shade or whatever, but when I'm 70, maybe that'll be nice. But try to get a drink in Newburyport after 9.
Newburyport catching strays. I thought you were going to say don't become New York City and you drop Newburyport.
Oh gosh. So there's some, yeah. No one can be New York City.
Yeah.
And I love what the guys are doing with this venue. The
Jimmy's Jazz Club.
Yeah. That's a beautiful space. The sound is incredible. Those brothers have they're rebuilding spaces and it looks really quite incredible. I want it to be a beautiful place here, but I bring friends from New York here and they look around and they're just it's like a Disneyland set. It's just so you can't. There's no trash anywhere.
Right.
Everybody has hydrangeas out. It's like I didn't realize how New England is, and I know that sounds daft, but it's like this is a place. But I mean, I think Kittery figured it out. Kittery's got a scene that, I mean, maybe that's why I like Brooklyn, because it's not Manhattan, and Portsmouth is like. It's one thing. And then you've got this little other one. And what I loved it, and I was still here when it happened, but we lost the Memorial Bridge for a while. And everybody was like, what's Kittery going to do without Portsmouth? And it was like, they were like, fuck off. We're fine.
Yeah.
Look at what we're going to do. And they just built their own community, and they were like, stay on your side. Maybe not. I don't know if they said that, but like they could have. It's fucking cool over there.
Love Kittery Forsyth. The culinary scene happening in that,
absolutely.
2-minute walk
and there isn't a miss. They're all good.
They're all incredible.
And like, without getting too much into it, Portsmouth is kind of saturated right now. And
there's a lot.
There's a lot. You can go out and not have the best night of your life.
For sure.
And like, that's a good thing. There should be different, maybe it's not a good thing. I don't know. But like, I like that there's a lot here, but there isn't a miss in Kittery. You're going to enjoy Festina Lente. Sam is crushing it there. And like the boys at Anjou.
Amazing. Black Birch.
I mean,
staple.
That whole little and then you just kind of tuck into Bowie and look around. Like, I love that space. And the woman now that has the corner pub, that
I don't know who
I should
owns
know,
that, but Deb McCluskey, who owns Lil's Cafe, has opened Salty Spirits, and she's opening something else over there as well.
That little
Dudley's, maybe.
Because
Annika Jan's is gone.
Amazing.
I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
maybe like a year and a half ago.
To me, when they expanded into the second room and took out they had a beautiful horseshoe bar right when you walked in. That was like probably not the most functional thing, but super sexy. And it was just the one room. And when they opened, they had this dark walls. Like maybe it was like an eggplant, but it looked black. And like, who would do that? And it was incredible. And they had these mussels in a like blue cheese on top with, oh my God, it was fucking awesome. Annika Jan's when they first opened was like, but then when this isn't a thing where it expanded, and I hope that made somebody a lot of money, but it changed the place for me. And I kind of was like, this isn't the cozy spot. And there were other places that I ended up going to, but I didn't know they closed. That's too bad.
Will you ever move back?
I won't give up the condo. Like I have had a lot of, as you can imagine, people are during COVID particularly like, oh, so I could get you XYZ cash for that. It's in an old building. It's not a big place. It's like 600 square feet, tiny. But it's exactly the space that I love to be in. So my family's here. My nieces and nephews are here now. They're all doing extraordinary things with sports, and it's hard being away from that, summer here. What's better than summer in this area? Like every time a week isn't long enough for me to be here. And my poor boyfriend, I'm just dragging him around, and I'm like,
what are your must do things when you come back for a week?
I mean, the list of friends I have to see.
Yeah.
And and if I've missed anyone, I fucking feel it's a tragedy. But like, I'm one of 8 kids, so I've got a family.
Oh wow!
It's 30 people. Like any way you slice it. After you get partners and nieces and nephews and so on, and then Black Trumpet, Kava, musts, because I worked there, but also I can get behind that so well. I went to Louis last night. Incredible meal.
So
what a sexy space! Like,
so I love
just
that
cut
space.
it out. Like.
That's probably my just like menu aside, just physical space to be in. That's probably my favorite.
And
one
RJ and Jazz are they've been working hard at getting this is what I think what they wanted for forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thrilled for them. So that was great. Colby's breakfast spot was always it's not there anymore, that was, I mean, Jeremy and I are very, very close friends. I would always go there. Anjou is a stop because they're one of the only places that will do lunch. So it's a spot I would go to before I drive home.
Yeah.
And, Festina, I mean, that whole Kittery Foreside was a must. I mean, we're going to do it at some point. We're staying out at the beach, and I'll tell you what, sometimes it's really hard to drive all the way into
That's
town.
Fair. Especially with all the construction going on. Downtown Portsmouth right now is
a little
mess.
hairy. I haven't been down that Congress yet.
Yeah.
I've heard, I think Instagram told me.
Well, Cresta Smith, thank you so much for joining me. It has been such an honor to sit across from Portsmouth restaurant scene royalty to learn more about the Red Door and to hear all these amazing stories from Portsmouth long before I got here. Thank you so much on behalf of all the Seacoast residents for sharing your story and for all the work that you have put into this town through the years. And thank you to the fine folks at the Corner Door for having us here. And I can't wait to get an espresso martini with you again soon.
That sounds great. Thank you, Troy.
Again, that's Cresta Smith, the former owner of the Red Door. Thanks to Cresta for joining, to JOBTALK LLC and Budget Blinds of the Seacoast for supporting today's episode, and to all of you for listening. If you'd like to come drink espresso martinis among some other cool people of the Seacoast, then consider this your official invitation to join us for Seacoast Stories Dinner Club in Amesbury, Massachusetts, next Wednesday, August 5th. You can reserve your seat at the table by visiting the link in the show notes. Have a great week, everybody. And a reminder that if you see me around town this week, please stop me and say hi. I would love to hear your story.